So let's start with populating the second performance indicator very quickly for the same outcome, which is population accessing piped water supply increased to 90% by 2022. So let's cut these things and we'll just populate it over here. So again, we just go to edit and we find our outcome, the first one, which is titled A, and it was linked to a CSI. So let's do another performance indicator by clicking on the plus sign over here, and then just let's paste it here. So again, be sure to adhere to the linguistic style that said increased is the action word in past tense coming towards the end, and this is a percentage. So this whole performance indicator, the type of it is a percentage, and the baseline, as you can see, is cumulative because we wanted to go from 85 in 2015 to 90%. So what we wanted to achieve here, what's the type of it? So we wanted to numeric, so point target to be reached or exceeded. I think this is the best fit here, and we wanted to reach 90 or even better, exceed it. So that's why we use numeric by 22, and trajectory is upward. So 85 to 90 and upward, and it's not linked with any CSI. Okay, so we have this B here, and we can add the means of verification. Here, let's say the means of verification, we'll just say this is some government reports. Just let's say government reports. Again, these are just example, illustrative example, and author name, let's say government, or let's say Ministry of Health Bangladesh, frequency annually. Here applicable to performance B, you see we have now two, so we are talking about this one. So this one is linked to that one, performance B. So here you'll find this performance B is there. There is a small bug, as you can see, because we entered twice, it maintains. So it's a bug that we'll need to solve it from our end. So you need to just be patient with some of those bugs that is still available in the OMS system, and we are working hard with IMDT to resolve them, inshallah. Again, just to add a risk for this one, we say, let's say affordable tariffs, just as an example, and finally save it. So we have the second one, the second outcome, or the second indicator for the only outcome. Remember, the outcome is only one outcome, and then there could be number of performance indicators for these outcomes, and then means of verification and the risk. So now the next target is to go to the outputs. So first we'll go to edit. Let's collapse all the sections so that we are more focused, and let's go to the outputs. It's empty, so we start adding here the top right corner plus sign. So let's see what we plan. In the output section, we plan to have two outputs. One is connecting the houses with the water supply, and connecting the houses with some solid waste management or sewerage system. So let's say these are two outputs. The first one, we wanted to monitor through two performance indicators. One is the number of kilometers of the water supply network, and the second is how many houses we want to connect. means of verification, let's say PCR, just to be for the sake of simplicity. And the risk is that we assume that the implementation progress is going as per the schedule here. Okay. Also, I would like to draw the attention here for the activities. So there is a tie between an output and an activity. So the activity is construction of water supply facility, and this activity would result directly to this output, output number 1. Construction of solid waste management facility will directly result in output number 2. So we wanted to link the activities with the outputs, because this is how the OMS system is designed, and you need to establish those things. There will be a kind of activity that is not linked with the output, which is the generic project management activity, which we'll come to it later. So this is what we wanted to now go to the OMS and enter it. So let's do it. Okay. The statement, which is the first output, let me just cut it from here. So the statement is houses connected with water network. I'll just save it. So once you open it, you'll find houses connected with this water network. This is our output, and now it requires to define the performance indicators for them. Okay, so let's do it. Here is the performance indicator for the first output, which is number 1. How about I create another output and then we come? I think that will be better. Okay, so let me create the second output, which was here, sewerage systems installed. I think this will be less confusing for you, and I just added. So I have this 2, and the risk, it says, is a common, as you can see, risk is common to all of them. So risk is not really tied to things, so I can just bring this one for a simplicity, just implementation progress as per schedule. Okay, so now let's go and give some details to the performance indicator of the house connectivity with the water network. Okay, so this screen is the same performance indicator that we encountered previously in the outcome sections. Okay, nothing different. So since I have explained this in detail in the last videos, I'll not spend much time. It is a numeric one, and our type is 0 because we assume there was no water network previously, and our year is 15 baseline. The target is that we wanted to reach there. So how about putting this numeric? I think this makes sense because we wanted to reach to this value, which is 625. From 0 I want to reach there, so of course this is an upward by 2022. I think by now you are an expert here. Now this water supply network happens to be one of our CSI, so I'll just press that it is linked with the CSI. Which CSI? Let me see if I can bring that for you. So let me just expand this list for you. So we are referring to this one, water supply network, this one. So this is part of our CSI. So if I saved it, so this is the link to CSI. So add plus sign here under the performance indicator. You see the system automatically numbers these things for you. So this is output number 1, the first indicator 1A, and we said that this is linked to CSI, so it expand this. So now we need to assign that particular CSI, and that CSI is basically this one, water supply network installed or upgraded. it by nature it's not, doesn't need disaggregation, so we'll just put the 625 kilometers and save. So it is saved. Okay, and similar way we can add the second one. If you recall here, the household connection, let me cut it from here so that I can paste it over here. So the first indicator is done. Let's do the second indicator very quickly. Again, this is 66,000 households connected. It's numeric. Its type is, again, initially you don't have anything in any household, so I have this grammar 0 households. Anyway, 2015 target, again I'll say I wanted to reach to that target, which is 66,000 by 22, and trajectory is upward. This also happens to be part of the CSIs, which is household, this one, to potable water. So I will link it to CSI and then save it. So you see 1B is there. Again, this is linked, so I'll expand the link and add the plus sign here and say we are referring to this one, household total supply. There is no sub indicators here. This is really a good example where we can really have a male and female disaggregation. So you can just say from 66 we can say households that are headed by a male or headed by a female. You can make this distinction over here. Right now let me just add the value here, 66,000. It's a repetition here. I think this there is a scope to improve in the OMS that if it is linked, why should we enter it twice here, and here it should be linked somehow. These are some rooms for further automation and improvement, but for the time being I think this fulfills our purpose. So don't forget to save your work from time to time, because we don't want to repeat the whole thing again. So good, we have the first, I think the first output is in a good shape. We have the two performance indicators with all the details along with the linkage with the CSIs. So let's expand the second one. So we are done with this first one is done. Now let's work with the second one, which is 93 kilometer of sewerage network installed. So here is sewerage network system installed. There is no performance indicator, so let's create one. 93%, 93 kilometers, sorry. It's again a numeric, and assume that there is nothing there at the beginning before the project was there. So we create the baseline, and the type, again, numeric point. I think this numeric point, let me expand this should be, I think, one of the most famous ones, because by nature we always try to define our CSIs in terms of reaching a certain point that need to be reached or exceeded. Exceeded is even better. So here is 93 kilometer by 22, and of course it's an upward trajectory. Again, this is water supply. We are talking about this one, sewage network installed or supplied. So we'll link it to that CSI. So we come to the linkage here and establish the linkage with the CSI, which we said this one, sewerage network installed or upgraded, and we said 93 kilometers. You just save it and we save it further. So we have both of the first and the second output well defined, but we have few things still not done. That is the means of verification. Again, we said this will be PCR IsDB annually, and this is applicable to this one. Okay, now one thing you remember, the activities. We need to fill the activities. What I mean by activity is this one, construction of solid waste management, because now we are in the output number 2. We forgot to do it first one, but I will do it right now. Let me just finish since I am in the second output. In the activities, it expects you to specify the years. So we said we'll start in 25, so let's say this is completion year is 2018, and let's say in August, the month. Okay, so activity by August this, we are done with these activities, and let's save it. Okay, so output number 2 is almost complete. Let's revisit output number 1, the first one. Let's collapse 2 so that we are more focused. Here you remember we have to specify means of verification and the activities. You can work in any order. Let's see let's work on activities. The activity here is construction of water supply facility. I'll just say this, and I wanted to complete by 21, let's say, in October. I have my Grammarly correcting some of my grammar mistakes here, so great. Also, since I'm at this screen, let's also say I want my PCR IsDB annually, and this is applicable to which indicator? This is applicable to the 66,000 household indicator. So I'll just save it over here, and let's save. I'm done with my impact and outcomes and outputs. Let me see if I can see the activities. You see, this is what I meant here, is that in the very beginning I told you don't start with the activities, because the system will pick up from the output your activities, and it will link it to the particular output. So the first output, it has this activity, the second output, it has the other activity.